Hello, family. Hello. I am back once again this evening. It's almost 4:30 here in Oklahoma, and I'm just coming before you with some prophetic insight. I want to share something that I have been pondering on since I did my last video, and there's some things that I thought about, and I want to share this, and then I have questions for you. I have questions for you because I'm curious to know the thoughts of those about what I'm getting ready to talk about. And I want to use Ezekiel chapter 40, 28 through 44, that area of talking about the inner courts and the outer courts to explain what I want to share. In talking about how we enter the presence of our Creator, into the presence of Most High. And the reason why I want to share that or share this information is because I'm curious about what you think. When we talk about some of the actions and the things that people do in ministry or in teaching or in any of those things where they stand before God's people, interacting, doing certain things, what do you think about where they could be in this whole scenario of things? So this is something that many of us already know, but I want to share it to give the background of what I'm getting ready to talk about, and then I'm going to ask you. So the outer courts, we're going to talk about the outer courts first, and I'm going to go kind of quickly through my notes. The outer courts was accessible for all, including foreigners, according to scriptures. This goes back into the priests in the Old Testament, Leviticus and Deuteronomy, and those places where it talks about the priests and the Levites and how they went into the presence of our Creator for sacrifice and all of those things. So we want to talk about the outer court was accessible to all, including foreigners, according to scriptures. Then we want to say the inner courts were the restricted areas of the Hebrew temple, a sacred space for priests. Today it represents a deeper level of prayer and seeking our Creator Most High beyond beyond our personal needs. This would be the inner courts. So when we enter the inner courts of our prayer time, it is beyond the asking. The outer courts is where we mostly ask, and we walk by faith and not by sight. You know, we're seeking for our every need. We're always at the altar praying. That's the outer court. The inner court is where we're seeking Most High beyond personal needs. And so we're getting a little bit more serious. Now, the inner court's also called seeking, the seeking realm. The deep realm of prayer where we move beyond the realm of asking, which is the outer courts. The outer courts is the area of asking. The inner courts is the area where we seek. So, when we speak of the scriptures, many are called, but few are chosen. The many stay in the outer court, if you would agree with me. They say in the outer court, and what I mean by that, and many of you know this, but what I mean by the outer court, we don't enter into His presence in the way to captivate the heart of God where He stops. But we are in a place where we are in the outer courts. We recognize who God is. We know that we have a Creator. We may have somewhat of a prayer life, and we have somewhat of a relationship. That's the outer court. Many of the chosen enter in. Excuse me, it through my nose. Many of the chosen enter into the holy place. Excuse me, let me slow down. Many of the chosen enter into the holy place, and there's those of us who enters into the Holy of Holies. So now you have the inner court, the outer court, the holy place, and the Holy of Holies. There's 4 different areas. Now, The Holy of Holies in Exodus 26:33 and Leviticus 16:2 details a separate place closed off by a veil, and only the high priest could go into that area once a year. Now, Hebrews 9 and 7 through 12 talks about Yahuah as the ultimate high priest now has entered the heavenlies, Holy of Holies, once and for all. This is on his resurrection and how the veil was ripped from the right to the left in the book of in the first books of the New Testament. And excuse my puppy, she may get to barking over. I'm gonna have to get her. But so now we have the Holy of Holies, and once and for all, our Creator, Most High, entered into that area in his resurrection, going into the heavenlies to sit at the right hand of our Creator. And the veil was ripped to the right and to the left, allowing us to be able to have access ourselves to the inner court, the outer court, the holy and the most holy places. So this is what I want to talk about. The Holy of Holies represents a separation between God and humanity due to sin. During the resurrection, the veil, like I said, was torn into half, allowing us all to enter in. Now, what I want to talk about is who enters into the holies of holy. And the reason why I'm asking you that question, who enters in to the Holy of Holies? I talked about the outer court. I talked about the inner court. I talked about the I talked about the holy place, and I talked about the holies of holy. The inner court being a place where it's the seeking realm, where we seek to find, where we seek to see, where we seek to understand. The Holy of Holies is where we enter in for a deeper understanding and a deeper, not the Holy of Holies. The holy place is we enter into a deeper understanding, a deeper realm in our service to our Creator, to Most High. The Holy of Holies, as our Most High entered into to sit at the right hand of our Father, is the area that I want to say who enters into the Holy of Holies. I want to say this. We know that Apostle Paul was one that went into the holies of holies because he was in the third heavens. And he said, I've heard things that I have not heard and things that I couldn't utterly to say. We also know that Apostle John that wrote Revelations entered into the holies of holy because he received revelations from that realm. Now, this is what I want to ask. In explaining the short time that I've been on here to explain a crash course, who do you think, and just being honest, I'm not going to say who do you think, I'm going to say it like this. If you are one of the leaders today that are always teaching, and then after you have a regimen of what you do from the time the church doors open until the time the service is over, and one of the things that you do during that course of time, you're asking for money. And then when you're not getting what you want or how you're asking for it, you become aggressive. Do you think that person is in the outer court, the inner court, the holy place, or the holies of holy? If our Creator has asked us to come out of the world systems in the world's religion and be connected to the kingdom of God, the kingdom of our Creator, then where do you think these leaders are that have a callous, cold heart? Those that want to fleece the flock. And what I mean by that, and that's in Malachi, I think chapter 1. I always say 1 through 3 because I'm not for sure in which between where. But it talks about, will a man rob God? And it does not talk about the laymen. It talks about the leaders. It talks about us as servants. We are to serve the people. And so, in saying that, when we enter into our Creator's space, either we're trying to get to where we have a relationship, which is the outer court, or we're stepping into the inner court, where we're able to start having a communication. And then we have, and the inner court is also the seeking realm, where we begin to learn and to seek and to hear things said to us, and then we get into the deeper parts of that, the holy place. And this is where a lot of the leaders go, where he teaches and trains and develops the different skills, gifts, and talents, correcting our character and all of these things. And then you have the Holy of Holies, where he speaks explicit things to us, and he gives us things that's needed to know about future events and things that are going on where people need to be aware, instructions and direction and guidance. He also grooms us in our ways of hearing and seeing in a more on a frequency of a heavier level. But this is what I want to ask. A lot of the leaders that I'm seeing today are, to me, in the inner court, and they shouldn't be. There's some that stays on the outer court, and that should definitely not be. And then you have very few that is going into the inner court. They're in and out of the inner court. They don't stay in the inner court, and they definitely don't stay in the Holy of Holies. And so what I'm asking is this. When we talk about certain leaders and how they are speaking to their members or their parishioners, or however you want to call the people that visit their church, and they're speaking to them in manners that are harsh or begging or always have their hand out. When you set up a meeting, a conference, a gathering, and the first thing that you need to do after you get through giving the word of God and ministering, you take up a collection. You have a $500 line. You have a $1,000 line. You have those that have $20 and $100. And so where is it? Are they fitting in what I just said about the temple of God? Because we're the temple. So where are we entering in that realm around the throne of our Creator? Are we in the outer court, the inner court, called the seeking realm, the holy place? Or are we entering into the Holy of Holies, where there's divine wisdom and oracles and knowledge given? This is why we need to be careful of who we are listening to and who we're following. Because every leader should be, if they are seasoned, should at least be in the holy place. If they're not in the holy place, and you cannot be in the presence of our Creator Most High with a heart that is callous in any type of way. You cannot go into the holy place or the holies of holies with an unpure heart and dirty hands, meaning having a callous heart where you want to always to tell people to give. For one, we need to understand that our Creator said He has all our needs met according to His love in His Son. All of our needs are met. It comes out of the kingdom, out of His of his world, out of his kingdom, out of his authority, out of that realm. And so how is it that we are continuing to allow leaders that stays in the outer court to teach us and to drain us, to take from us? They're not leading us into the Holy of Holies. They're not even leading us into the holy place. They're keeping us in the outer court. This is why I continue to say that we have to have a pure heart and clean hands. This is why I say we must study to show ourselves approved, a workman that need not be ashamed. We have too many leaders that are keeping Most High, our Creator's people, out of the holy place, out of the Holy of Holies, where we have oracles and healings and great things of our Creator, where our needs are truly met, where there's nothing missing in the holy place, in the holies of holy. But we would rather follow leaders that keeps us in the outer court, where anything can happen. And this is why I say that we have to, when people are so angry with me, when I talk about church, when I talk about Christianity, we are a people called by a Creator, born of Him through the blood of His Son, created in His image, connected to His kingdom, not the kingdom of this world, not the things of this world. We are connected to His things, His kingdom, His constitution, His commandments, His laws. And we are by His constitution, His commandments, His laws. Everything that we would ever need comes from Him. Every need. But we would rather focus on those leaders that keep us in the outer courts, not even entering in the inner court, and definitely not the holy place or the holiest of holy. So we have to really begin to, because this is how people are going to miss God. This is how the great falling away is happening. This is how many will not have their needs met. This is how that woman, and I feel so sorry for her. I have empathy for her. How she was able to justify her missing what the pastor said, that she missed the assignment and it wasn't the pastor's fault. I beg to differ. It was all of the pastor's fault in the way he teaches to keep his people in the outer court, dependent upon man and not dependent upon our Creator who owns the cattle of 1,000 hills, who created the cattle of 1,000 hills, who created all things. Everything comes from His kingdom. Everything. And then yet we want to have men teaching us doctrines of men and doctrines of devils, keeping us in the outer court, not allowing us to go into the holy place or the holies of holy. That's all I have to say about this. And I'm hoping that you come back. I didn't run you off. Praise God. Thank you, family, for listening in. Like, share, and subscribe.